Most of the people are asking me how I'm able to make a career switch from mechanical engineering background to AI engineer job role. So very simple. So in order to work as an AI engineer, so we are doing everything through programming, but I'm not from a programming background. I'm completely from non-programming background. So in my BTech, they taught me C programming and all of that, but I'm not really good with that. So we know how exactly we learn programming in our college days. Now, when I want to make a switch into AI, one of the major hurdle or the block going to be understanding programming. So now let me explain you with a step by step. The very first blocker I have is what programming. So I want to understand or I want to practice programming. Now, when you are trying to learn programming for the very first time, the basic problem you're gonna face is something like why this guy is teaching all of this. So we want to understand why he's writing a comma, why he's writing a semicolon there, why we want to create a function. So that is the basic questions I have. So why someone want to really use programming to build AI? So this kind of questions are able to pop up in my brain. And what I used to do, I used to spend a lot of time on watching lots and lots of Python programming tutorials. Not only that, I used to buy textbooks on Python, I used to. And even at certain point, I used to copy the exact comments and I used to paste it. So in this way, I used to start doing it. So I'm going completely in a wrong way. And at a point, I felt I cannot really learn programming. That's what the position I'm at. And slowly I started realizing so programming is not just about listening to the tutorials. I lack lots and lots of hands on. Then what I started doing is I started understanding the fundamentals first. And I used to spend a lots and lots of time on practice. So, what exactly the key here is hands on. So the more you are able to spend time on programming. So now every time I used to have a comfort in running executable code, but that's not really helping me. So when I'm able to spend a lots and lots of time, forgetting about how many hours you have in your hand and keep on working on errors. It's not the time I learned it when there is a chat GPT, but I learned programming when there is Stack Overflow. And when I started doing a lots and lots of hands on by getting errors, figuring out those errors, fixing those errors, and coming up with a problem and solving it. And every time I'm having a bit curious how exactly I can use this programming to solve the problems in mechanical. The reason is very simple. Now I'm from mechanical. I know what is happening in mechanical. I can understand. How can I use this programming in mechanical? That's how I started mastering programming first. So first, the very first goal is I started mastering programming through hands-on. It's not watching tutorials. It's more and more of hands-on. So I started learning R programming. I started learning after that Python. So again, moving from R to Python, it's been a bit difficult for me. And then anyhow, I learned Python programming. And after that, then based on the curiosity, I learned a bit of Java. I'm able to understand JavaScripting and I'm able to code it using JavaScripting. In this way, slowly I expanded. But in order to be an AI engineer, you don't need to really learn R programming and all of that. You're able to directly learn Python programming, even though you are zero at Python, you can still learn Python programming. So that's how I started. So if you are able to understand fundamentals and a lots and lots of hands-on, you are able to be very good with your programming. And once I got a good understanding of programming, then I started focusing on coding challenges, so which are very, very important. So now when I'm learning programming, so I used to learn like I used to do Python. But when you are getting into interviews, in order to crack interviews, understanding Python or writing Python may not be sufficient, but you need to know how exactly you are able to write a code for a specific problem at a least amount of time, understanding the time complexity, understanding the space complexity and solving the most asked Python interview question. So why exactly I felt why coding challenges? Very simple. Now, when you're able to practice with the coding challenges, you are able to improve your problem solving ability. So in real time, no one says, come on, today we are learning about list. So they try to give a problem. For that problem, you need to pick up the right ingredients from Python and you want to start writing a program. So for that reason, start focusing on coding challenges. And while I'm learning coding challenges now, I'm not at a beginner level. Now I'm trying to, I feel bored with basic level. So in order to make myself so interesting and you can say like more interesting and excited about your Python, I started expanding my knowledge into OOPS and even I understood about DSA, data structures and algorithms. So that is really exciting for me. For that reason, I learned it. But for an AI engineer role, do you want to really understand DSA? Not needed. But you need to understand object-oriented programming and you need to really focus on your coding challenges. So once I felt, oh, I'm able to crack a role as an AI engineer, but that's not the real story. Now, in order to crack, just knowing programming is more like having a hand. So, with just a hand, you cannot really crack the job. Now, in order to write coding, you need to have a brain. That brain is what? So, why you are really writing this program? So, for that reason, you want to really focus on the step 2, which going to be called as theory. So I call it as theory, or I call it as math. So you need to really start understanding statistics. So statistics is not really important for AI, but when I learned data science, at that point it is data science, and then now we are into AI. So we used to build ML algorithms and all of that for data science. Now I learned statistics, and when I'm listening to statistics, few classes felt like it's a breeze, we are able to. But as you're going through statistics, I'm able to miss it. Now, you the major problem with AI role is not really about programming. The reason is when you're getting into your theory or math, you need to remember the statistics. Recruiters going to ask a lots and lots of theory. So now, when I'm trying to learn, I haven't remembered all of this. Just I know the concepts, but recruiters asking me why you implemented that algorithm. They are not really curious to know about, for example, the definitions. They want to know why. They want to know more of an experience than just understanding of a particular concept. So I started again revising statistics with a point of why to use, when to use. So that is the very, very important element. Now, when you are learning statistics, most of the people know only what it is. But in order to crack interviews, you need to know why and you need to know when. And after statistics, you need to know machine learning. For example, now here comes the game. Now you are learning statistics and how you implement statistics, yes, using programming. So for that reason, I would need to use libraries in Python. So we call them as what? Libraries in Python. So if I want to implement statistics in Python, we are able to use statistical functions in Python. So all these functions are stored inside a library. So we can say simply like, now I want to store, I want to create an Instagram story. I use a library like Instagram, which is an application. So now I want to create, for example, diagrams like this. I'm using a function called mind map tool. All of this mind map tool contains functions to create a mind map. Similarly, in order to do statistics in Python, you have a library. You install that library in Python and you are able to start using it. For example, to do statistics, I can use pandas library. I can use SciPy library. I'm able to use stats model library. In this way, we will be using bunch of libraries. And then after learning machine learning, for example, now I learned machine learning. Again, with machine learning, it's more like why, and you need to know when. And you need to have an end-to-end project on machine learning. So if you are saying, I know machine learning, recruiters don't consider. They want an end-to-end project on machine learning, which you really implemented. So based on that end-to-end project, they give you an opportunity. Then they ask questions from that end-to-end project. For example, you said, now for machine learning, there is a life cycle, like a business problem, so on and so forth. Business problem, data collection, data understanding, data cleaning, train, we can say feature engineering. Let me write feature engineering, train the model, test the model, evaluate the model, deploy the model. And before, even after evaluation, there is one more step: accuracy improvement. So until you get a good accuracy, you keep on iterating those steps. Now this again, when you are trying to explain machine learning, whether you are building machine learning, deep learning, or any AI project, this is the standard life cycle. Now they start asking on this life cycle, and what is this life cycle methodologies? Basically, this methodologies comes into a concept called agile crisp. So now it's not just knowing a surface level knowledge. You need to really spend a lot of time and all of this. So they start asking what type of data you collected, why that problem statement. So what type of data you, how you understood it, why you cleansed it, how you do feature engineering, how you selected the model, how you tested it, evaluated, how you convinced your client. They ask everything related to your project on machine learning. Just knowing machine learning may not be sufficient. You need to have a knowledge of your project. And in order to build machine learning, so you are learning theory, and how you implement again using libraries in Python. So this is going to be scikit-learn library, scikit-learn library. And after ML, I started learning about deep learning. So which is a branch of machine learning. Again, with deep learning also, you need to know again why and when. And once you are able to know about why and when, again, how you implement this deep learning library, you implement this deep learning using Python libraries like TensorFlow, you implement it using PyTorch, or you can implement it using JAX library. So these are the type of libraries we are able to go and implement it. And then once you know about machine learning and deep learning, we used to crack data science roles, or we are able to crack like AI engineer roles. So very exactly within deep learning, again, there are subtopics like LSTMs, computer vision, feed forward neural networks, and all of that. So with this, we are able to crack it. But now, in order to crack right now, so there is an extension for deep learning we call generative AI. So generative AI is also a branch of deep learning. Now you are trying to learn next level called as generative AI, which is a study of LLMs, large language models, which are again a branch of deep learning. Again, I started understanding. So it is an extension. If you really know machine learning and deep learning, so to get into AI roles or the current demand which we have, it's a very easy path. You are able to just spend 1 or 2 months, you are able to. Then I started learning LLMs, large language models. And once I got a good understanding of LLMs, and then there is vision based models, vision LLMs, we call it as vision based language models for image to image generation. Once I mastered that, now understanding just Gen AI may not be sufficient. Now, how you are able to customize this LLMs are very, very important. So, for that, we need to understand about prompt engineering. So, in order to do this prompt engineering, again, you want to use Python libraries here. So, deep learning, we use TensorFlow, PyTorch, JAX, and for prompt engineering or for AI libraries, I will be using LangChains, or I can use Llama Index. So, these libraries. And even for RAG also, for RAG architecture, we will be using LangChains and Llama Index. So, this comes into again Gen AI. So, now I need to learn prompt engineering. I need to master RAG architecture. And within RAG architecture also, they are asking, you need to have an end-to-end project on RAG architecture. And in order to do prompt engineering, you need to start accessing the models from different providers. So you need to know about what is OpenAI. So like you need to know about what is API call. You need to understand AWS Bedrock. You need to understand Azure Foundry. So now in this way, you need to start mastering all of these providers. You need to take the models from different providers and you want to do prompt engineering. So within prompt engineering, you have types. And same, you need to understand your RAG architectures. You need to start understanding what is fine tuning. You need to start understanding what is pre-training. You need to understand what exactly how to build agents. So within that, you have a single agent and you have a multi-agent. So now in this way, I started mastering all of these elements. What exactly, so how I know what I need to master, I go to LinkedIn, I search for the job requirements, I understand what exactly they are currently looking for. And apart from it, you need to understand what exactly this Hugging Face platform is. I need to take models from Hugging Face and I want to start doing the fine tuning. So in order to build agents, you need to use a Python library called as, if I want to build agents, I want to use a Python library called as LangGraph, or I need to use a library called Crew AI, or I need to use a library called as AutoGen. So in this way, I started using these libraries and I need to build agents. And that too, to crack interviews, you need to have an end-to-end project. Even on agents, you need to have an end-to-end project. Even on RAG, you need to have an end-to-end project. Even here, there need to be end-to-end project. So without an end-to-end project, you cannot really crack your AI engineer job role. So once I have all of the skills, again, if you are able to look at the real-time job, it's not just about building an agent. It need to have a proper guardrails. It need to have a proper governance. You need to deploy it. So in order to deploy, you need to have a knowledge of your DevOps. So that to something like LLM ops pipeline, how exactly you deploy it. So for that, I started learning again cloud platforms like Azure, AWS. And again, as I am managing so big projects, then I want to forcefully learn data engineering. But data engineering, is it important? Not needed. So before you are going and building AI pipelines, I need to learn about data engineering. I want to study the entire genesis of the data ecosystem and AI ecosystem and how exactly we integrate them into web applications. Again, for that reason, I need to understand about a bit of software development. So front end and a back end. Now, see, if you're able to look at all the skills I learned slowly, It's not something I acquired maybe within 2 months or 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. So like you need to invest a lots and lots of time to really gain confidence. The goal is more about what gaining confidence. And everything I learned, not just for the sake of learning, but there is a requirement. I got into a role, then there is a requirement. Based on that requirement, I used to get it. Now, for example, for a new person who don't even know, so now I learned the skills initially MLDL, and when I went to my means like within my organization itself, they said, hey, we can't give you a role, so you are from mechanical, what is the proof you know AI or you know data science? There, I started doing one thing. I started building POC. So the third step here going to be to build experience. So I started building experience. So how I can build experience? One is with POC. I started building proof of concepts, or I started building a small MVP. So in order to demonstrate how we can use AI/ML in mechanical, or how I can use Gen AI in mechanical, or how I can use agentic AI in mechanical. So based on that, I'm able to start building the confidence. Apart from POCs, now I used to take various gigs, and these gigs are not really to make money like a freelancer. The goal is to get a confidence, to build a confidence. So without a confidence, you cannot really crack the interviews. The goal is to build the confidence. For that, I have taken gigs as a freelancer. I'm able to get this freelancing work from your various freelancing platforms you have it. You are able to take it from even Fiverr is one of the good platforms. From there, I used to get the works, I used to get the gigs. And not only from Fiverr, I used to get even the gigs from the LinkedIn. I used to build a connections with various people to get a freelancing gigs. That's how I started making it. Once I'm able to build an experience, then I showed this experience in my resume, and I'm able to get a full-time role as an AI engineer. So this is the journey you need to. Now, how exactly or who is helping you to get a job is it's really you. Now you are trying to build a confidence. You are building a skill what companies are really looking for. So that skill you are able to go and you are able to sell it in the market. And when you are just learning it as a course, there is nothing in you to get you hired. So there is nothing in you for someone to pay you. You have a skill, you learn something, but that skill is not really useful for a company. You want to build a skill. The difference is everyone is learning the courses. So the skill you are getting in a course is only up to course level. You want to learn a skill to get a job. You want to learn a skill which is at a job level. If you are able to build that job level skill, job level confidence, job level questions, if you are able to prepare, you are able to crack a role as an AI engineer. So there is a lots and lots of hard work in order to get a job as an AI engineer. It's not just about learning ChatGPT or Claude. That may not really help you. You need to focus on this simple roadmap in order to crack a job as an AI engineer. I hope you got an idea. Any doubts, feel free to reach out to me.